We can't say the future without AI. I mean, there's no way around it. 50% of workers now believe AI is going to improve their experience. When I come into the meeting room, I need a way to incorporate my AI with what's going on in the meeting. It's almost a bring your own AI type of a concept. Most of what we do in our day-to-day is going to change significantly.
Hear the latest AV trends and predictions in this episode of Crestron's Smarter Spaces podcast on your preferred podcast platform.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of AV Career Masterminds. If you are watching, you see I have more than one guest today. If you are listening, I have three guests with me today. I'm excited to have these three on. They are three dear friends of mine also, that we have a running text message that goes on, and I tell them at 10:30 at night, please stop and to go to sleep. So without further ado, let me have my guests introduce themselves. George, I'll start with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jen. I also want to remind you that chat messages start at 5 a.m. and end roughly around 11:30 at night, depending on who's left standing. That being said, I am George Chaco. Jen, thank you so much for having me. I am the president and co-founder of Next Level Learning, Inc. And we are an organization that is focused on youthification and diversification of the tech industry.
Awesome. Brad?
Hi, thanks for having me on, Jen. My name is Bradford Terry. I'm the executive director for Next Level Learning alongside George. And my day job is I am the senior manager for educational media at Pace University.
Thank you. And last but not least, Gary.
Thank you as well, Jen. I'm the treasurer for Next Level Learning, do some of the event planning and administrative and legal stuff as well. And then my day job, I am the vice president of a small business, Microtheory Engineering, based out of DC.
Awesome. So those of you, if you haven't quite figured out, today we are talking about Next Level Learning. And I am also part of Next Level Learning. I am the vice president along with these three at the organization. So one of the things why I wanted to have everybody on was to talk about all of the amazing things that we are doing at Next Level Learning. But the big thing is with InfoComm right around the corner, we are bringing three young professionals to InfoComm. So George, if you want to just kind of give us an idea of why this is so exciting for us, why this is so important, and how this fits in with our mission.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jen. And, you know, it's funny because I'm sure a lot of folks have heard me say this story over and over again. I stumbled into the industry. You know, I came out of college at a time where it was really hard to land a job, and I took the first job that came my way. So I stumbled into this industry and I fell in love with this industry a long, long time ago. Let's not put a number on it. But let's just say I had a head full of hair when I fell in love. Well, I fell head over heels.
But if you're listening, mind you, George does not have a head full of hair. But
I have a head full of hair. I was like, I have a head.
No, he has a head full of stubs.
Head full of stubbles. Yes, well done. Thank you. Any chance they get. You know, a few years ago, when we started talking about Next Level and so on and so forth, I had this dream of bringing some younger generation, the next generation of leaders and AV technologists to InfoComm, right? Let me dial back real quick. When I remember my first InfoComm that I attended, I stayed at a La Quinta Inn and I ate 3 meals at Denny's because I wasn't sure how the travel reimbursement worked. I went to the conference 8 o'clock in the morning and I came back at 6 o'clock in the evening. And all throughout the day, I heard about these cool parties and networking events that were happening, but nobody was inviting me to anything. I had no idea where any of this stuff was happening. And no matter how hard I tried, the first couple of years, I came back with, well, I mean, I attended the show and I took the courses and stuff, but that was the extent of my experience there. Fast forward several years later, there's all this that happens at InfoComm that is beyond the show floor that you really have to participate to be a part of this, family, fraternity, whatever you want to call it. And the goal, the dream, the goal, whatever you want to call it, was to bring this new generation, first timers, someone that's been in the industry for a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, no more than that, bring them to InfoComm, show them around, provide them with mentors, bring them to these exclusive events, tell them, hey, these classes are good, but how about you take these courses, right? And have some fun along the way too. So, fast forward to 2025, 2025.
Yes.
That dream, that goal is coming true. And we are bringing 3, what are they called? Newcomers to the industry. Learners. Yeah. They've been in the industry for the last year, maybe year and a half. And they're going to be coming to InfoComm, all expenses paid, with this amazing experience that we're putting together for them. For the record, I wanted to do more than that, but our wonderful treasurer here said, how about 3? So just putting that out there.
Yes. And as people will probably learn to find out, Gary definitely is the keep us on the straight line and not let us cross over too far, because we do tend to have some amazing ideas. But Brad, you've done a lot of interaction so far with, and I'm going to use the word kiddos, right? Because as a mom, I could be their mother, right? These young professionals that we're bringing. So you've had the ability to interact with them a little bit more. So what is your take? What is your feeling on their excitement level? Are they excited? Do they see this as a great opportunity? What are they saying to you?
They are excited now that they understand what InfoComm is, because these kiddos, these learners, are so new to the industry that for the most part, they didn't even really understand what InfoComm is. They might understand what a trade show is in general, but the scale, the number of booths, the number of people, the number of new technologies, the overwhelming aspect of InfoComm, they are just starting to understand as we're planning the itinerary and figuring out how we're going to stuff 3 days full of stuff. Before I forget, Gary is grounded. That's what I would say about Gary. He grounds us.
I thought you were grounding him publicly in front of everybody.
Yeah, that's grounded in reality, which is good. George is a bit of a dreamer, so it's Gary. He needs a Gary. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that before I forgot. Yeah. But yeah, the excitement level with the learners is very high now that they're starting to understand what an opportunity this is, the people that they're going to meet, the exposure to different technologies, to different groups of people, different industries, even within our AV IT world.
So Gary, as our treasurer, and looking at this, what are some of the things that helped us get here to be able to bring these kiddos? And what are some of the things that we are trying to ensure when we get them to Orlando, we're getting them into, we're signing them up for maybe, and I hate to use the word regardless of cost, but some of the things that they're wanting to do are also going to cost Next Level Learning an additional fee. But why is that so important for us?
The sponsorships and the partners that we've had this year, as we've grown from a smaller organization that George had in its infancy, and then as we grew our board members and some of our advisors, and having those new relationships with some of the manufacturers and companies, and then other people within the industry supporting the idea of mentorship and the next generation of people that are going to be there to lead the the AV and IT workforce has been, critical to making this all happen. George kind of alluded to the mentoring piece, and I'm sure we all go back to something in our mind where we were maybe, buying a car or buying a house or doing something where there was a major decision. And if you were there by yourself, you're like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Am I considering all the things that need to be done? But if you have like a family member or a friend that like could help you along that pathway, it makes it a little bit easier. So for these learners to come for the first time, it's like, am I going to go to the right meetings? How do I get to an engagement and not like sit at Denny's for my meals and maybe be able to go to a networking breakfast? Or how do I engage with somebody? I think some of the early feedback that we had, even though like LinkedIn and social media exists for some of our younger generation, they're like, really, what is networking and how do I do it at a corporate executive kind of level and not more on just like a social level? So putting all that together is kind of how we got this program together, between George's concept and Brad putting together some of the agreements and terms and conditions and things that we're going to have there for them in an agenda and a timeline of things they can accomplish to make their time worthwhile, to get them excited about what they're doing. And then, kind of the plan that we put together with yourself, because we haven't included you here also as our vice president of the organization, putting together, what is the budget going to be, and making sure like we're not being cheap, but we're not being expensive, and we're something in the middle that like makes all of the experience worthwhile for all the three people. 3 this year, maybe 5 next year, maybe 6, 12 years to come. I'd love to be able to be like, the whole left side of the plane is the next level learners, right? That's something to look for by 2030. But it's a good baby step in the first year of doing this to figure out where we're going to be, get that feedback from them, and then hopefully just make this program grow even more for years to come.
Yeah, and you're right. We have looked at all of that stuff, right? You've got to look at what they're going to be able to eat during the day and how much that's potentially going to cost. And, if we can get them into the events, luckily we did as a group and as an organization make the decision that the people we are bringing are young professionals over the age of 21. So they are technically adults, right? So we don't have to worry about certain things with them there because they are adults. But even like the networking events, I know I was laughing the other day. I was seeing, people start posting that their parties and their networking events are open for registration. And I started registering them and have not spoken to the 3 of them yet, but they're going to start seeing invites. Now, with that being said, the invites and things that we want to do with them like that, and those networking events, one of the kiddos works with you, George and Brad. I had the pleasure of meeting her, and she is definitely quiet. Let me just say. So, what are we going to do with these kids to ensure that if they're not comfortable? Because InfoComm is shocking, right? I mean, if you've never been, so what are some of the things we have in mind to help them through that process when they show up, that they're not like in shock and awe of everything that's going on?
We're going to jam pack that schedule so much that they don't have time to think about it.
Right?
You're just going to keep going,
sleep.
Just keep rolling. No sleep, no nothing.
As Gary says, sleep when we're dead.
I think that having mentors alongside the learners is really going to help facilitate even the small conversations as they walk from booth to booth, but also really help in these networking events that we've got them signed up for. So like Gary was mentioning, that a lot of the questions we're getting are about how to network. And even though it's kind of like a funny question in itself, like you just talk to people about what you're interested in, what they are interested in. I think that the generation coming in is so ingrained with social media and different ways that they socially interact with one another. Just going somewhere and talking to someone at a party who you've never met before, who you don't know what they do, you don't know what industry they're in, you don't know them at all, and building something there, figuring out what they do, telling them about yourself, and seeing if there's any sort of relationship that can be built there. That whole process isn't something that I think a lot of younger folks have done. If they've only been in the industry for a year or two, like our learners, they haven't had much opportunity. But I also think that there's an aspect of how folks are interacting socially today.
I agree, and I've seen this generation of teenagers or students that are Snapchatting or texting each other from 2 feet from each other. So I agree with Brad on that. But guided tours throughout the day. So as Brad mentioned, mentors, but even beyond that. So, I mean, anyone can go to a show floor and walk the boots, right? It's like, oh, this is cool. That is not something we need to teach. We will be sending these three students, for all intents and purposes, learners. I think that's what we're calling them, right, Brad? Learners. These three learners will be going to the booths with someone that's an engineer or someone that has experience and say, hey, you like audio, so have you looked at this Sennheiser device? Or have you seen this biamp mixer? Whatever you want to, and this works like this, X, Y, Z. So it'd be a guided tour, so to speak, and and that'll be the case with everything that we do, without going too deep into their itinerary. That is a word I cannot say.
And just to quickly piggyback off of that, I think some part of the guided tour benefits are that we or mentors can act as a safety net for these conversations. There's now, I don't care about looking stupid. I will say anything, but I know that some folks don't want to embarrass themselves in a conversation. They might be afraid of saying something that makes their inexperience obvious. So the mentors are there to help act as a safety net and help folks avoid that and kind of guide conversations and network.
Yeah, I would just say too, like there's a community around kind of tech shows too. And if this is your first time, if you're a rookie going the first time, that's sometimes intimidating. And also knowing the city, Orlando, Las Vegas, some of these big cities, Dallas, Nashville, that they have these events. It's if you've never traveled before, and then you're all of a sudden around 45,000 of your friends that you don't know, it's a little bit tough to navigate that. It's and kind of being that it's Orlando, like have you ever gone, or you go to Disney World for the first time with like a family member or a friend that's been there like 3 or 4 times, right? And they're like, oh, well, you have to go over here, and like, oh, skip that thing because the line's always too long. Go over here. Like, to have somebody that's like that mentor that can help them at InfoComm to be like, hey, I know you're going to see like, somebody like LG is going to have this huge display and everybody's going to get to it. Don't worry, it'll be there all week. You can take your time, go see other things, like having somebody to like lead them along and like, bringing them to different areas and explaining like what to do, where to go, like that's something helpful also, so they can maximize their time and get the most out of it for the first time ever attending.
And as you said that, you're true. Like, LG or Samsung or any of those large DV LED companies, right? They're probably going to have some massive wall with some amazing content on it. Usually people are all crowded around and filming it, right? So yes, go throughout the days. But one of the other things that I don't know, we haven't touched on yet, which is just popped in my mind that we need to be able to tell them too, is InfoComm is definitely different. There will be stands that have coffee going all day long. There will be stands that have cookies going all day long. And guess what? You don't really have to stop and talk to somebody at the booth just to get a cup of coffee. You can kind of sneak it and walk and go. But if that makes you feel more comfortable grabbing your coffee, and now you can start to chit chat with the people that are standing there, right? So we have to write that down and remind them that it's okay. Most of that stuff is free.
While we're talking about the free stuff, one thing I would like us to really remind these learners is you'll see a lot of free tchotchkes all around. Try not to load up on them because they'll end up in your garbage before you get home.
And you have to put it in your suitcase and figure out how to take it home.
Unless they're next level tchotchkes, then keep them for life.
It's did you go by booth 20? They have a magician there. Oh my God, there's a magician at booth 20. And it's like, yeah, they got your attention to get to the booth. That's like a marketing technique. But again, if you've never been to something like this before, like you could get caught up in the whole sense of like what is going on.
So real quick, being also on the board and understanding, that we've wanted to do this. I think with our existing sponsorships prior to International Women's Day, we may not have been able to bring 3, right? I'm shameless plug. We're always looking for sponsors, right, to help out with this. But George, Brad, what was that significance that happened at the International Women's Day event that was held at Pace?
Oh my God, that day was a blur to me.
Brad or George, come on. No, wait. That was bucket list item for a lot of us on this call. At least for me it was.
That was bucket list. I mean, big shout out to Diversified for making this very generous donation that is really making this whole InfoComm thing come to fruition here. It was genuinely touching, generous, whatever you want to call it, and even holding that big check bucket list item that you suggested, Jen. It was like, oh my God, is this real? Is this actually finally gonna happen? Like, what do we do from here? And it was an amazing event. It was such a great partnership with Diversified. They put such a wonderful event. Not to go off a tangent here, but that event was amazing. I walked away with so many takeaways for that event. Let's
clarify too. Diversified as an organization does donate every year around International Women's Day to a nonprofit, right?
Correct.
So luckily, this year, they wanted to donate to Next Level Learning. So let's just, now any other companies out there that just want to throw us, we are happy to use your money wisely. And as Gary said, we will bring more learners to InfoComm next year. But yes, I mean, we are a nonprofit, right? We are looking for sponsors. We are looking for donations. We are all doing this on our own time, which all 4 of us on this call, I know, thoroughly believe in the mission of Next Level Learning and what we're doing. Yeah. So let's talk real quick about who these learners are, right? So I mentioned already one of them works with you, George and Brad. So what does she do for you at Pace University?
So Georgia is a audiovisual support specialist. So Georgia actually is on our team one of the only people who went and got a degree in audio engineering. So one of the only trained professionals that I have on my team. Georgia's been with us for 2.5 years now, I think, although my perception of time is really bad. So Georgia handles all of the event, classroom technology, helping users utilize all sorts of things between web applications to speakers and microphones, and Georgia rings out the rooms and does the EQs on the mics and does an endless amount of things, including manage our part-time student workers. So Georgia moves mountains for us.
You make sure Brad remains employed.
Yes,
Good.
absolutely. Thank God.
Right.
Somebody has to. And so we are very excited to help facilitate Georgia's move from learner to leader.
So then we have another young female from Fordham, correct?
Yes.
So can one of you talk about who she is and where her career is as far as audiovisual is concerned? Because I don't know any of these except for Georgia.
So yes, Elena works for Fordham and does a very similar role to Georgia and is at a very similar step in their career. So we can almost copy and paste it. I don't believe that Elena went to school for audio engineering, and I believe has kind of fallen into things like the rest of us. But again, the same classroom event space support is what Elena does. And again, we're really excited to help.
And Fordham is
a school just the north side of New York City.
the University College.
University, yeah.
Perfect. And then we did have someone that we were going to bring, but unfortunately, God bless her, she did get a job, right? So we were unable, and she was unable to take the time. So when you have this money and you're like, oh my gosh, we need to fill it, who do we reach out to? And I think we reached out to tons of people that we knew. And at that point, it was whoever that first person was that kind of got back to us and said, I know someone, I have a name for you. Then we kind of took it there because we did not have much time to wait. So we did reach out to Donnie Merritt down at University of Central Florida, and Donnie has a gentleman, right, that he is sending. So what do we know about him?
My good friend Donnie Merritt always comes through. He has a new employee who's a student worker, has literally just transitioned into this role. Brandon Lynch, I think is his full name. And he is from the area, but he will be joining us. He will be staying with us. We do save on the airfare, so Gary's happy with that. But he will be staying with us for the entire experience, just because our days are going to start at 7:30 in the morning with breakfast together, and we'll explain what their day is going to look like. And if they have any questions, concerns, do your feet hurt? You're going to be okay. You'll be home in 4 days. Don't worry about it. That kind of stuff. And then, if these parties go on to like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, it's probably easier for him to stay with us and kind of stay in the inner circle.
Living in Florida, driving in Orlando, I-4 traffic is not fun. Not knowing where this young gentleman lives, if he happens to live on campus, and going where University of Central Florida is near the Orlando area is not fun. So you said two words that I kind of want to talk about. You said student worker. Mm-hmm. So he is still in school.
He was. So he's graduated, and after he graduated, he took this position on. But if you want to touch on that, Brad was a student worker. I was a student worker. Most of O'Neill Morgan, who works for Brad, I'm going to date myself, was my student worker, now a full-timer at Educational Media in Pace University. So, we call it our farm system. We have our students that have no idea what AV is, and they come for a part-time job, and then we have quite a few of them stick around and end up in full-time roles. So Brandon is similar to that.
So I know that we originally started and not necessarily picked these three, but we had discussed doing this while we were at the International Women's Day event. And so it kind of just happened that the original 3 young ladies were there. We were talking to them. They showed major interest in this, right? Now, I know that with George and Brad, you both working at Pace University, affiliation, not affiliation, how do we need people listening to understand, how it crosses over, if it crosses over or it doesn't cross over?
Pace and Next Level do not cross over. It just so happens that me, as a co-founder, my full-time role is here at this amazing Pace University, my home away from home. No, my home. Let's be honest, I live here. And Pace has been wonderful to me, along with giving me the opportunity to do something like this. But no, they're separate. I think I'm associated with Pace University, and that causes a lot of confusion. But going forward, our next AV Talent Summit will be happening in Pennsylvania, and we're hoping to expand that and do other areas within the U.S. We have a few targets in mind, but we would like to expand that, and I think that's how we can make that separation eventually between Pace and Next Level.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Gary, talk about briefly where our next big talent summit is going to be and kind of how we got there.
So we're looking to have the next talent summit in the greater Philadelphia area, with Pace University having its footprint in Westchester County and then in New York City. That was the Talent Summit New York. I think our vision and part of our plan is to expand, we'll say, along the coastline from Mid-Atlantic to New England. So hitting some of the large cities, Philly, DC, New York, Boston, and those greater metro areas. So within Philadelphia, there's a couple large counties that are around the city itself. The city is its own county. But you have Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Bucks County. And Bucks County has quite a extensive community college system that offers 2-year degrees and also continuing education and workforce development. They're a great site that I've held events at before. I'm also happen to be on the Bucks County Community College Foundation as a board member there. So it was a good fit because yeah, it was a good fit because there are 14 high schools, I think 4 private schools and like 9 charter schools in the area. So the population there of students that are have the potential to be interested in audiovisual and technology is huge. And we've seen a lot of expansion of AV projects in this area. Digitizing all of the billboards down I-95, new scoreboards at the Philly Stadium, new the Wells Fargo Arena. The entire Wells Fargo Arena front is now just a digital screen, right? So it's like it's in your face, and trying to relate some of those things to the kids now of like the things that they've seen and not really known that that's part of the AV IT industry, and the potential to get into that will be great. And to kind of find another place to have a footprint here in the home of Rocky and some other, the home of Independence and a lot of other great things, the home of Gary. It's the greatest place to be.
So you talked about this talent summit. I mean, I know what the talent summit is, but you talked about the talent summit being at a university, and then you mentioned high schools, private schools, charter schools. So who's our target audience for this talent summit? Is it the local people, like adults like us, or who's our target?
Yeah, so I think we're targeting the same as the previous summit in 2 arenas, with a session for high school juniors and seniors, that are at some of the local area and regional high schools. And then also in a second part or evening event with local professionals. So people that are in the industry or in particular areas of, there's a couple of manufacturing companies in this area, but as well as being in a giant metro area, you have University of Pennsylvania, Drexel University, Temple University, Westchester University, Rutgers is on the other side of the Delaware River. And then like not too far within like a 45-minute range is the Lehigh Valley, where you have Lehigh, Moravian, Lafayette, Cedar Crest. Like, so there's like Northampton. So there's a big chunk of higher education places where not only people are going for their 2 and 4 year degrees, but people that are looking to do career changes or looking to expand on a certification or training are going back to community colleges or colleges that have continuing ed or workforce development programs.
So we're looking at, the high school students, right? Because that's what we have done at the PACE Talent Summit the last 2 years, which has been amazing. We're looking at now adding that evening event where we can focus and get more of the young AV professional or people looking to change their careers and maybe come into the AV industry and have more of the adult, right, kind of networking event and not high school kids. So, George, knowing all that we're doing all of this, and one of the main reasons why we're doing all of this is because the numbers, when we look at it, of people in the AV industry, the age and coming in. So talk to us, because you know these numbers. So if someone hasn't heard it, please throw it out for us.
Yeah, I love putting these numbers out there. They're terrible for us as a industry, but these are numbers. These numbers are very real. So once I give you these numbers, I want to extend a challenge to all the listeners here. But let me get through the numbers first, right? So, and these numbers are from 2021, 2022. So there might be some changes here, but my guess is it's very fractional. All right. So right now, our industry is 91% male to 9% female. All right. 91% male. Our average age of our AV professional is 42 and let's say 43 years old. 43 years old, average age. The age group between the ages of 20 and 30 is now less than 16%, which means there is more of me leaving the industry than there is coming in, right? That's a scary number. And lastly, when we talk about diversity, less than 39% non-whites, right? So actually the ratio probably works out to exactly what the squares on this screen are. 3 men to 1 female, right? It's might be even more, but.
And, I'm going to do this, I am over 43.
Me too.
George, Gary.
I was waiting for Brad to say I'm
14 and a half.
And Brad?
Not quite.
Not quite. So Brad's fitting closer to that 20 to 30 age range, right? So yeah, you are right. Like we on this call totally make up a lot of the demographic of what's going on in the industry.
I'm not saying we need less of any of those numbers.
Correct.
I'm just saying there's plenty of room to grow that, to adjust those numbers in that way, right? We need Gary just as much as we need Brad. But we do, right?
And you are absolutely right? It's the all-inclusive of what's going on. And here's the other thing that I also love of what we do. We don't just focus on the fact that the audiovisual industry is sales, or it's engineering, or it's programming. That is a part of it, but we focus on all of the other things that audiovisual companies need.
Yes.
Right?
I like to say that, when you talk to a young learner, you can say, hey, you could take your college degree and go stand in line behind 500 people and apply to Google, Microsoft, all these big names. Or you get that same resume and get to a Crestron, QSys, or any of these companies and be behind 5 people, if that. I mean, I'm not great at math, but that sounds like a really, really good percentage.
It is. And people, just because they don't know the names, right? And that's the other thing we're trying to do with this younger generation is get them to understand the names. Like they're going to know, like you said, Apple and Google and Microsoft and Zoom. Well, what about, the LG display that you have in your house also has a whole bunch of stuff that they do, right? And when you're talking about Crestron and QSys and Extron and all of those, you don't see those types of things, but they are very important, and those companies need.
Yeah, you know your Microsoft, your Logitech. Have you heard of Laya? It's a wonderful camera company.
Very.
Anyways, but I just want to, just to wrap up that sentiment before I forget because of my advanced age. The one challenge I want to put out to all the listeners is connect with us. Have us host a talent summit in your area. We want to bring the younger generation in, and we want to talk to them about opportunities. I would say 90% of the kids that come into the talent summit have no idea what AV is. They're coming to take the day off.
Right.
And
Which
then halfway,
take the day
I'm
off.
fine with it too. But halfway through, they're like, "Oh my God, had no idea this was a career path. I want to know more."
Oh my God, the video games that I play all day, esports is a whole thing. I can set up stadiums for esports, and that's a job. Somebody designs those and they make money. Like, yes. Yeah, you don't have to be a professional esports player to be in the esports industry. There's space.
And it's not sales, right? We need everybody down to, installers,
design,
that know how to do wire management, because that, if anybody would sit at my desk right now and see my wires, it drives me crazy because I'm constantly connecting and disconnecting. Like I need somebody to come in and clean it up for me. We need those. And so I am going to make a plug. Of course, I have my Youngstown State University sweatshirt on today specifically because we knew we were going to talk about universities. That is my alma mater from where I graduated. I graduated with an education degree, right? I taught math. And like George said, I fell into this because I taught with an interactive whiteboard and a projector and relocated, and this is where I'm at. And Gary, kind of the same thing. Gary, you were, and I always get it wrong and you correct me, so I'm just going to say you.
Retired CIO of the United States Military Academy.
So, I mean, we've all done some amazing things. Now, granted, we would love to be able, United States Military Canada, I mean, it's a little bit stringent on how we can get there, but we know at some point we're going to be able to try and do something small probably there. But like George said, we want to throw this out there. We want to next year at InfoComm in Vegas bring more than 3 learners, right? Because we will have a new set of learners that we will bring. We want to be able to bring these learners. So, we are looking for people to support us. Universities that are listening, right? Give us a call. We would be happy to come to your university and talk with your student workers or with the audio program or whatever programs you have that kind of fit into this field. And again, I think we call the audio visual IT field all encompassing, right? Restaurants, music, live events. I mean, Coachella's going on. I've been scrolling through TikTok, seeing all the great stuff that's going on at Coachella, right? I can do that kind of stuff. And then all the way down to the high schools, right? We want to get to the high schools to talk to the kids so that we can guide them to a career path and hopefully help them make a decision on where they'd like to go to college based on that. Because as we all know, there are very small degrees available that will help you in the audiovisual industry. There is no one audiovisual minor program, correct, George?
Just the one, Pace University. Come talk to me.
Yeah. So So
And,
good.
also, Jen, if I could add on for our partners, and, it's amazing to be able to host this, but as, I hate to be the guy in the room that says, as you mentioned, this costs a lot of money to host these things, depending on the size of the crowd. Gary is trying to put 300 kids in the space together. So we got to feed 300 kids and we got to give 300 tchotchkes away. So, from a return on investment perspective, I want folks to think of this not as what's in it for me right away, but it's what's in my future. Like, I'm building the workforce industry. So for all the listeners out there who have lost an excellent staff member to a competitor or somebody else, just think retirement, right? You have a farm system that you're building with us, your farm system that you can handpick and select your future employees.
And bring your admissions folks, have them set up a table and try to recruit people to the university. I mean, it's kids looking for a path. Are we going to get all 300 high school students into AV? No. Some of them are going to maybe go to your university.
Right. And we want this to be something that is fun. We want this to be something that this is exciting. And, as we sit here and we talk about this, we're getting so excited because InfoComm is less than like 8 weeks away. When everybody listens to this, it'll probably be sooner, or watches, it will be sooner. So guys, thank you so much for sitting and talking with me about the amazing things that we're doing here at Next Level Learning, what we are going to do at InfoComm. Gary's got his hand up. Go ahead, Gary.
Just one more thing. If you want to find information from us, you could go to our website, which we're continually trying to update. That does have links to all of our social media. It's The Next Level, and level is LVL, thenextlevel.org. If you're looking for us on LinkedIn, we're Next Level Learning. On Instagram, we're at Next Level Learning. On X, we're at Next Level _Learner. Again, if you need to get to any of those, you can get to them from our main website. But a lot of information out there. Membership is currently free. So looking to have people sign up. We put out a monthly newsletter. We put out a lot of information on our social media. So follow us, like us, smile at us, thumbs up us. Tweet. I don't care what you do. Tweet
Join
us.
Join the conversation with us.
Yes.
So guys, and Gary, thank you for that, to make sure that we got that in. So from a standpoint of everybody wanting to reach out, regardless if it is through Next Level or not, Gary, what's the easiest way people can reach you, and where can they find you on social?
So for me personally, my personal is at ALBAUGHG, Alba G, my last name, first initial. That is my standard for everything. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. If it's out there, that's what I use. If you want to reach me for something to talk about business, Microtheory Engineering is at microtheoryeng.com. The same for our social media, for all that. And if you happen to want to get a hold of me for Next Level Learning, treasurer at thenextlevel.org, or hello at thenextlevel.org. You can drop a line off of our website as well. I help coordinate some of the logistics for the high school and other local visits. So we'd love to have you contact us and have you set up a time where we can come and speak to your students, whether it's 5, 10, 100, we will be there.
Yep. Awesome. Brad, where can everybody reach out to you?
Mine's easy. Let's just go with LinkedIn. Bradford Terry on LinkedIn. It's the one from Next Level and from Pace University.
Awesome. And George, where can everybody reach out to you? And there's something you kind of have going on the side too, maybe if you want to quick chat about that.
Are you talking about a possible re-emergence of a certain podcast, possibly?
I am. We've chatted and heard some grumblings about that.
Yeah, coming soon, possibly, likely, maybe. Grab a cup of coffee, wind up all your cables, and get ready for some curveballs.
Okay.
But you could reach, in the meantime, you could reach me at george@thenextlevel.org. That's the nextlbl.org, or you can find me on LinkedIn at George Chaco -CTS, because apparently there is a lot of George Chacos on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Did not know that. Well, guys, thank you so much. And thank you everyone who listened today and who watched. Remember to check out all of my dear co-host friends and podcasters with AVNation TV Media. Jump out, take a look at them, like, subscribe us all. And remember, we are all more than words.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.